Coming up tonight on Sports Paws, both the men's and women's basketball team opened up MAC play this weekend. How would both teams fare?
And the men's hockey team hosted RPI in Union while the women's team took them on the road.
And also we have Meet the Bobcats this week with Danny Harris of the men's basketball team. And as always, we finish up this week's show with the top 5 plays. Sports Paws starts right now.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the last episode of Sports Paws of the semester. I'm Victoria Tigliano.
And I'm Chris Stacy. And Victoria, it honestly feels like it was just yesterday and we're giving our takes in the first show of the semester.
We've really come a long way since then, too. I mean, that was your first episode ever. You went on to be a ghost in another episode, and now you're here with me anchoring the final episode.
Yeah, it's been a long semester now that I really think about it. And shout out to Mike Bonavita making me go on as a ghost with an old sheet on my head. But we have a lot going on this weekend in Quinnipiac Athletics, Victoria. So let's get started with some Bobcat hoops. As we're going to start off, like I said, opening MAC play, men's basketball versus Monmouth. Let's start right here in the first half. We are going to have Monmouth getting it inside to Chris Brady. He's going to get that tough 2 over Chase Daniels here. And Chase Daniels is going to come right back here. Says, anything you can do, I can do better with that athletic tip-in. Wow, that was very impressive right here.
Yes, it was.
And now we have Mikey Dixon driving at baseline with the nice finish, protecting the ball with the rim. That's a nice, easy 2 right there for the freshman. And now, the story of this game was the offensive transition by Monmouth. That is Hornbeak right there. He's going to drain the 3. And on to the second half, more of the same. Here's another 3 by Monmouth, right in Pete Kiss's face. They were just on fire from the 3-point line, Victoria, and Monmouth, Quinnipiac had no answer. And you see Justin Robinson with a nice step, that first team All-MAC player showing why he was there. Quinnipiac will lose this one 91-72 to open up MAC play. Coming up. After the loss, myself and men's basketball beat reporter Maury Horschgordon were there with our reactions and the addition of the rebound. Coming off its first win against Indiana State, the Quinnipiac men's basketball team took on Monmouth in the first MAC game this season. It was a 91-72 loss. My name is Chris Stacy alongside men's basketball beat reporter Maury Hirschgordon. And Maury, story of this game has to be Monmouth's offense and specifically their offensive transition game. What do you have for us there?
Chris, you look at the final stat sheet. 17 points for Monmouth on the fast break. Quinnipiac, goose egg. A lot of that has to do with Colin Stewart. Just a tremendous job. Really made his minutes count. He was 6 for 6 from the floor, 5 triples. He didn't miss one from beyond the arc. It seemed like every time Monmouth was pushing the ball down the court, he was going to hit one, whether it was 5-on-5 or 4-on-5, because one of the times Monmouth came down, Justin Robinson had lost his shoe. He was on the opposite side of the court. Monmouth kept playing, didn't call a timeout, didn't slow the ball down so that Robinson could come up, and Stewart finds himself on the left wing and buries one of his 5 triples.
Well, for the first half, it looked like Quinnipiac was going to be in this game. There was going to be a competitive game. At halftime, they only trailed by 11. But right out of the second half, Monmouth had an offensive explosion, it felt like. Can you tell us more about that?
They did. Monmouth comes out, and one thing that King Rice does with his team, since he has so many seniors and so much experience, is he just lets them play ball. He doesn't set up many plays. Monmouth didn't run its first half set until Quinnipiac went to the 2-3, went back to it for the second time. Monmouth opened up that second half 4 of 6 from the field. Once Quinnipiac went 2-3, they slowed the game down a little bit. Monmouth set up a little set, and they get, a big man or a guard slashing down the middle of the lane or, coming in from the wing, extends the lead. It's up to 17. King Rice takes out his starting 5 for the majority of the second half.
So let's transition. Let's talk about Quinnipiac and some of their players they had. Reggie Oliver, Tom Moore mentioned he was a little limited today. He was under the weather. So we had some other guys step up, specifically the 2 freshmen, Pete Kiss and Mikey Dixon. Pete Kiss, 32 minutes. Mikey Dixon, 26 minutes off the bench. Those are starting minutes. What does that mean going forward for this team?
Well, Chris, Tom Moore needs to build a program here. And Tom Moore likes the offensive production by his freshmen. He saw it down in Florida. They weren't scared. They were on national television. They played the likes of a Gonzaga, Seton Hall, even an Indiana State team that could have ripped off wins against the Stanford or, even against Iowa State in the opening game. So Mikey Dixon and Peter Kiss play very well. You know, I liked Mikey Dixon's game a little bit more tonight, 7 of 14 from the floor. You know, he shook a couple of the Monmouth guards once or twice, didn't complete the full move by getting to the basket, but you see those little things from the freshman, and those are bright spots going forward.
The men's basketball team would look to avenge its loss to Monmouth, taking on Marist at home. The Bobcats have not won a game yet on its home court. Let's see if they could do it here. In the first half, Mike Dixon steals the ball, takes it down the court. He doesn't get this in, but that's okay. Peter Kiss is there. Bobcats are up to a 20-14 start in the first half. In the next Quinnipiac possession, Peter Kiss passes the ball to Phil Winston. Chase Daniels is there. He finishes this game with a season-high 17 points, so he was huge for the Bobcats in this game. With 4:50 left in the first half now, Mikey Dixon will drive to the basket for two, but the Bobcats aren't done yet in this first half. With just over 2 minutes left, Peter Kiss is going to steal ball, brings it all the way down to court, dunks it in. Bobcats lead at the half, 42-25, and Kiss played stellar in this game, ending with 13 points, his 5th game in a row with double-digit points. Into the second half now, Marist will get its own chance on offense, with Ryan Funk hitting his 3rd three-pointer in a row. He finished with a team-high 23 points in this game, but it wouldn't be enough for the Red Foxes. We're going to see Danny Harris here with a three-pointer. Quinnipiac goes on to win this game 77-63, the Bobcats' first home win, and you're going to see after this game Donovan Smith tackling down his teammate Andrew Robinson. Very excited about their first home win of the season. And the women's basketball team also started MAC play this week, heading to Jersey City to take on St. Peter's. The Bobcats headed into this game winless, starting the season 0-5. Quinnipiac would make sure it stayed that way. Freshman Vanessa Udoji turned out a career-high 16 points, leading her team in scoring. 5 different Quinnipiac players went into double digits in points in the decisive 84-51 victory over the Peacocks on their home court. The Bobcats also boasted a season-best 40.7% from downtown in their dominating win over the Peacocks.
The women's basketball team welcomed Siena to Lender Court last Saturday in the team's second Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference Game of the Year. After a slow start in the first half for the Bobcats, who only led by 8 going into the locker room, had an offensive explosion in the second half. The final score was 73-47. Redshirt sophomore Jen Fay had a team-high 19 points for the Bobcats. Fay shot 7 for 10 from the floor. The Bobcats will have a huge game on Tuesday as they welcome Big Ten opponent Michigan State. Spartans will be coming to town for an out-of-conference game.
Women's basketball beat reporter Maury Hirsch-Gordon had a chance to chat with Michigan State basketball reporter Casey Harrison on scouting the Spartans.
Using what you've seen in the first 9 games, what does Michigan State need to do, to make sure that they do get the win out here on the East Coast?
Like I said, they got to come out of the gate strong. They got to make sure that they limit the turnovers, and they've been a pretty good job. They're a very good team at rebounding. They out-rebounded Oakland, who is actually one of the top 5 rebounding teams in the country. And as long as Tori Jankowski can really, get in a rhythm and help the team itself get into, a relatively fast pace of play. Jankowski is shooting almost 48% from the floor this year and over 41% from three-point range. And she really is a workhorse. I mean, she has been averaging almost 36 minutes a game. She played nearly 40 minutes against Oakland on Friday. And the key to success for Quinnipiac is going to be able to keep Jankowski in check.
If you guys are unfamiliar out there in the Midwest, you guys are going to quickly be familiar with it out here on the East Coast. Quinnipiac plays a style, and they've phrased it the gold rush, which means they play, it's almost like hockey. In terms of the lines and the substitutions, that is, Casey. Quinnipiac will, obviously have a starting 5, and then off the bench, it'll throw another 5 in. They like to play 5 in and 5 out. They recruit to that style. They have a ton of depth. They have a ton of length, a ton of athleticism. So I'm sure that will be the game plan, always running fresh legs out at Jankowska. But for those Quinnipiac fans joining us today, Jankowska, 5th in the country in points. She was 3 assists shy, of a triple-double in that win against Oakland. What have you seen the most out of her this year in 2016, 2017? And what was that step taken up? How has she elevated her game with the absence of Powers?
Just a sheer terms of development and maturation. When Ariel Powers left, it was kind of a surprise. because a lot of people thought that she was going to come back for her senior season. And for Tori Jankowska to, take the reins of this team, and she's done an exceptional job of it, especially with girls like Brandy Agee kind of taking a different role in terms of the play style. Brandy Agee, she was a really big three-point shooter for the team last year. She's taking a more defensive role this year. And, Jankowska has been so instrumental on offense. She's been taking young leaders such as you got the young girl in Taryn McCutcheon. She's just brand new this year. And then you also have Jenna Allen, who's a sophomore now. And she's been a really big part in how the offense moves and how quickly that they've been able to get on top of things.
We now welcome in Quinnipiac women's basketball beat reporter Dylan Fearon to break down the weekend. Dylan, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, guys. Let's talk some women's hoops.
So Dylan, the women's basketball team's first conference weekend is under wraps, with the Bobcats easily taking down both St. Peter's and Siena in MAC play. What do you think of the team's performance on the weekend?
Well, it was expected. 2 conference games, 2 conference wins. I think that's the expectation for this team now, coming off a MAC championship appearance last year, coming off a championship winning season 2 years ago. So I think that's the expectation when they play conference games. You're talking about a St. Peter's team that was 11th in the MAC last year, just 2-18 in conference play. Quinnipiac takes care of business, winning by 33. Vanessa Udoji, the freshman, as Chris talked about, looked really, really good, 16 points and 7 boards. And then Saturday against Siena. Siena's got a great chance to be a top 3 team in the MAC this season, and Quinnipiac didn't look too good in the first half, but the fourth quarter was unbelievable. They shot tremendous. Jen Fay, 19 points in just 22 minutes. Very efficient from the floor, 70% from the field. And so they took care of business. They look very good, and it's looking to be an interesting game Tuesday night.
And Dylan, it's a quick turnaround for the Bobcats this week, hosting Michigan State on Wednesday. What does Quinnipiac need to do to come out with a win against this team?
Well, you're playing the 21st best team in the country, according to the AP poll, so it seems like everyone and their mother probably thinks Quinnipiac has no shot against Michigan State. And to beat a team like Michigan State, you cannot make mistakes whatsoever. So you cannot be turning the ball over. You cannot be putting Michigan State at the free throw line. Spartans shoot 73% from the field, which is a really, really good number at the charity stripe. So you cannot put them at the free throw line. You cannot turn the ball over. Some physical mistakes, that just happens. That's life. That's the game of basketball. But you cannot make mental errors against one of the top 25 teams in the country when you're a mid-major program. So Carly Fabry, Adley Martucci, Morgan Mance have got to shoot well from 3. They got to do a lot of right things. Instead of thinking about a 40-point game against Michigan State, a 40-minute game against Michigan State, you got to break it up into 4 10-minute games. How can you beat them in this 4-minute stretch? How can you beat them in this 4-minute stretch? So it's going to take the best effort from Quinnipiac. They're greatly coached from Trisha Fabry, Matt McGilvery, and that crew, but it's going to take their best effort and pretty much a flawless game to beat Michigan State at home.
And finally, Dylan, you said it. They had a great game against St. Peter's, not one of the better teams in the MAC. They came out in the fourth hard against Siena to win that one. I know the season's young, but what are your predictions on how far you see this team going this year?
Well, I see it going very far. I think the goal is obviously to win the MAC championship in Albany. I think that's the expectation. They're ranked first in the preseason poll, so it seems like the rest of the conference thinks Quinnipiac is the best team in the conference and respects them that much. Iona lost a lot of pieces. Siena is up there, but no one can compete with Quinnipiac. Siena was 3rd in the preseason poll, and Quinnipiac beat them quite handily on Saturday. So I think they can go far. They can win the conference tournament, get the NCAA tournament. As far as the game against Michigan State, everyone and their mom thinks they're going to lose by 25. I think I've got to go with the same. I've got Michigan State by about 20. I think Quinnipiac can run with the Spartans and play with them for maybe the first half, but I think against a top 25 team, even though you're at home, even though it's a game of emphasis and all the student athletes will be there, and TD Bank should be rocking. That is the plan. And so I think they can handle Michigan State for the first half, but for 40 minutes, I don't think so.
All right, thanks, Dylan. That's all we got for you. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
And that'll do it for all things basketball here in Hamden. But when we come back, we'll switch from the hardwood to the ice.
Both the men's and women's ice hockey team took on ECAC competitors RPI and Union last weekend. How did each team fare? Don't fret, we have you covered from when we come back right here on Sports Paws.
Coming up on Bobcat Breakdown.
Coming up on Bobcat Breakdown.
And welcome into Studio 125.
So what?
So what? If you score 40 points in a basketball game, we all know you play Quinnipiac intramurals. We all know you love to shoot the rock.
Well, if you think that's the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard, what I'm about to say, I guess, is going to be pretty ridiculous in your book, but I'm going to say yes, there is a controversy.
Line, getting ready to punch the ball as it lands right in front of another Monmouth player.
Coming up, coming up, coming up.
Coming up on hashtag that.
We are your source for Quinnipiac's entertainment news.
Hello, Quinnipiac hockey fans, and welcome to the Neutral Zone.
Definitely St. Lawrence, and I think you're going to see the test coming up real soon.
They might be having a bit of an adjustment issue without that CBS line, but don't count them out.
At High Point Solutions Arena in Game 2 of Quinnipiac vs. Northeastern Series.
All this and more.
Coming up on the Q30 Newscast.
Welcome back to Sports Paws. Switching over from the court to the rink, the men's ice hockey team hosted both RPI and Union, looking to come back from their decisive 5-1 loss against Vermont in Ireland. Not the best loss for the Bobcats, so we're really looking to come back from this one. Let's take it straight to RPI, where they hosted RPI at home on Friday. We're going to go straight into this highlight here. You see there, Connor Clifton now playing in this game after getting tossed from the game against Vermont in Ireland. Big loss for the Bobcats here, but let's take it into the first period. Landon Smith gets a puck in the defensive zone, passes a great pass over to Broken Rafferty, sees Tanner Master wide open, and he gets one past Cam Hackett. 1-0 Bobcats, and that's got to feel good for Tanner Master. That's his first game back after being injured for 5 games straight.
Big goal right there.
We're going to take you now into the second period. RPI with its own chance on offense, getting a little passing going, but Chris Truel will be there. We will get a slashing call here for the Bobcats, but nothing's going to come from that one. Into the third period, the game is now tied. Quinnipiac is on RPI's doorstep with Landon Smith right there, but they can't get one past the team. Still 1-1. Later on, after Tim Clifton's go-ahead goal, Bo Pieper's going to be there back door to slam one in. It is now 3-1 Quinnipiac, and let me just say, Landon Smith had 3 assists on this game, so he was all over the place on offense in this game. So without further ado, the last goal of the game, Landon Smith passes one over to Luke Shiplow, wide open. You can't miss that goal if you try, and Quinnipiac goes on to win that game 4-1. Big win for the Bobcats for this one.
And now on to the second game of the weekend for the men's ice hockey team, as they're going to take on Union again at home. Let's start in the first period here. You're going to see a QU face-off, and eventually it's going to make itself in to Kevin Duane. It's going to be redirected, and that's a goal. QU's up 1-0 early. Now on to the second period. You see Union on the power play here is going to be Nick Desmond on the return pass from Ryan Walker. The shot is going to flutter over Chris Truel's glove right there. That's a heartbreaker right there. Score is tied 1-1. Now, here on, still in the second period, there's another Union goal. Tris Truel never had a shot at that one. That one's going to make the score 2-1. And Union on the attack once again. You're going to see another goal by Nick Desmond.
That was a snipe.
Second goal of the game. Yes, that's going to make it up 3-1. Now on to the third period. Union again. Sloppy clearance here by Quinnipiac. And you're going to see another laser right here. And that's going to...
2 for 2. Both those were
for
great.
Chris Truel, and a short ridge is going to go in. And then as you see here, Union gathers the puck here, and it's just an empty netter right here. Nothing Quinnipiac can do right there, and that's just going to prove to be the difference. Union's going to win 5-2. And now here is Rand Pecknell with the presser after the game.
When I look up at the clock, and we're out shooting 41-9, and we're losing 4-1. So, but that's hockey, and given them credit. Their goalie was excellent. Skeleropoulos was he's by far the best player on the ice, and goalies do that once in a while. And and then we didn't make many mistakes. They didn't get many scoring chances, and when they did, they finished. So.
The USCHO polls are out for the week of December 4th, and there's a lot of movement here after an interesting weekend in D1 NCAA hockey. Quinnipiac dropped 2 spots this week to 7th after its stifling loss to Union on Saturday. Minnesota Duluth holds on to its first place ranking for the 3rd straight week, with Penn State catapulting itself to 3rd place after sweeping Michigan State last weekend. Harvard sits 1 spot above Quinnipiac in 6th, with North Dakota, UMass Lowell, and Ohio State rounding out the top 10. We're now going to take you straight over to women's ice hockey. The women's ice hockey team took on Union on the road. Union had not won an ECAC game yet, and it's not looking like they're going to do so in this one. In the first period, Kenzie Lancaster is ready for this one. Bobcats go up 1-0. She had 5 points in 3 games leading up to this game, so she has been stellar for the Bobcats recently, and she's stellar to start out this game. Later on in the first period, Emma Greco with a great pass to Emma Woods, and she finishes top shelf. A beautiful shot there by Woods. Great look, top shelf. Quinnipiac goes up 2-0 with 1 minute left in the first period. On to the second period now. Emma Greco with another great pass over to Melissa Samaskevich, and she will bury this one past the right pad of Union goaltender, putting the Bobcats up 3-0 with 6 minutes left in the second period. And now into the third period, Kenzie Lancaster is going to get her second of the game, getting one past the Union goaltender. Bobcats go up 4-0 and will win this game. You see them celebrating on the ice. 7 different players had a point in this game. So really it was an entire team effort in this 4-0 victory.
After the Union games, the women's ice hockey team quickly packed up their things and traveled up to Troy, New York for the team's second game of the weekend. The Bobcats took care of RPI as they defeated the Engineers easily by a score of 6-1. Senior Emma Woods scored a game-high 4 goals for the Quinnipiac in the routing of RPI. Also, during this game, both Woods and junior Taylor Cifrano gathered their 100th point as the Bobcat during the game. The next game will not be until December 30th, as Penn State will come up to Hamden for their out-of-conference game. After the weekend for women's ice hockey, after a big weekend for women's ice hockey, the new USCHO polls came out today. Wisconsin remained number 1 in the poll after receiving 14 out of the 15 first-place votes. Minnesota and Minnesota Duluth rounded out the top 3, and this week there was 2 teams, Clarkson and St. Lawrence, that tied for the 4th place in the poll. They are followed by Colgate, and then Quinnipiac remains in the 8th spot this week. After that, Robert Morris moves up to the number 9 spot, and North Dakota rounds up the top 10 teams this week. When we come back, Matt Cricelli sits down with men's basketball captain Danny Harris to discuss his life off the court.
And it's no secret here, my favorite part of the night, the top 5 plays of the week. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back.
Coming up on hashtag that.
We are your source for Quinnipiac's entertainment news.
It's 9:30 Eastern, and you know what that means. Sports Paws is on the air.
Left ball played up the middle. Emmanuel with a little cheat off the pipe. Preseason just boils down to going after another national championship and not necessarily focusing on the one before.
And Jay. It is time for our favorite part of the show. It's the top 5 plays of the week, brought to you by B&D Deli, home of the Q-Dog.
Let's talk about the first play you want to break down.
Yeah, let's break it down right away.
But the one name I'm going to throw out there is a freshman, Mika Maples.
Welcome back to Sports Paws. Thanks for sticking with us. Now on to the rugby team. Fresh off the team's back-to-back national championship win, the team returned from West Point to celebrate with the Quinnipiac fans in Hamden. The rally was held on campus in the Student Center cafeteria. There were many people in attendance, from current students, other student athletes, and even head athletic director Greg Amodio. The event included an emotional speech by head coach Becky Carlson and a performance by former America's Got Talent performer, the Christoph brothers. Men's basketball captain Danny Harris has only 1 season under his belt for the Bobcats. Despite this lack of experience, his team still named him team captain this year. While his presence on the court is instrumental in his team's success, his time off the hardwood is just as important. Matt Cricelli has more.
Hi guys, Matthew Cricelli here with Danny Harris in this week's edition of Meet the Bobcats inside the Lender Court here in the TD Bank Sports Center. Danny, thanks for coming on.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
We're just going to get right into it. So, life outside of basketball, now as a senior, as a captain, how much more free time do you have, and what do you do with that free time?
Like you said, there's not much free time that we have because, our sport takes up a lot of our time. But, just to try to be like a normal student when you have a chance to go out and have fun.
What responsibilities do you have off the court, not only on the court, but off the court, to just lead your team, and how does that affect your day-to-day life?
The biggest thing is, in previous years, image on campus hasn't been the best, so I think my goal this year has been just to change our image to the student population here. So to make sure our teammates, my teammates are more vocal, more friendly, to be able to interact with all students and even other student athletes. That's been my goal. That's been Greg Tarka's goal as well. So just to be able to change men's basketball's image, and it's been taking up a lot of my time, but I'm willing to do that as a captain.
Being older, going to junior college, how was that adjustment going from junior college to the NCAA level, and was it kind of weird to be a little bit older than some of the guys on the team?
I wouldn't say it's weird because when you look at it, just 2 years at a different school, not just the experience is nice to have. Just we have 2 years under your belt, but the adjustment wasn't that bad. It was very smooth. The coaches let me become a captain within a year, and my teammates have set me to become captain. So the adjustment was smooth, and just be able to produce on the court is the biggest thing.
And you talk about adjustments, a little bit of a weather adjustment coming from Tampa all that way. Was it tough to adjust to the weather and the different culture in New England?
Yeah, when you get sunshine, 360 days out of the year, it's going to be different. The temperature down there, the lowest you're going to get is maybe 60, maybe 50s if you're good at it. But the snow is different. I'm enjoying it. I've never seen snow until last year, and being snowed in for the first time, having a white Christmas, it's always nice to have. So I'm really adjusted. I've enjoyed it, and hopefully, and the biggest thing I like is the fall. Seeing the leaves change. You don't really see that in Florida.
For the full interview, be sure to check it out on our website at www.q30television.com.
Well, Victoria, I think it's that time of the night. Your favorite time?
What time's that?
Top 5 plays.
And there really were some fantastic plays, but we're going to take it to the top 5 plays sponsored by B&D Deli Works, open for breakfast and lunch. Try the Quinnipiac Panini or the Q-Dog Sub. We're going to take you on to top play number 5, men's basketball versus Monmouth. Chase Daniels goes for a backwards tip-in. Great shot, by the way, by Q30 Sports on that one. He gets 13 points.
On to number 4. Let's move on to the ice. We're going to have Melissa Samvoskevich with a laser shot right here. No chance for the goalie there. That is her 6th goal of the year. Quinnipiac's going to go on to win this one 4-0.
And we're going to go back to men's basketball versus Monmouth for play number 3. Mikey Dixon gets past the Monmouth guard for the up and under reverse layup. He's named MAC Rookie of the Week.
On to number 2, back onto the ice. Now we have Tanner McMaster here, scoring off the assist, going 5-hole right there. That's a nice goal right there. Quinnipiac's going to win this one 4-1 over RPI.
And our number 1 play of the week will keep it on the ice with Emma Greco passing one over to Emma Woods, sniping one top shelf. She scores. Quinnipiac goes on to win that game 4-1. And I said it before and I'll say it again. That was a beautiful goal by Emma Woods.
And that'll do it for the last ever episode of Sports Calls. Just kidding. We'll be back next year for the spring semester. Don't miss us too much. But if you do, you should be sure to check us out on our website, www.q30television.com, for more info on all things Quinnipiac sports.
And our social media hasn't changed. Check us out at www.q30television and at Q30 Sports. For the production staff, all those behind the scenes, and my coworker Chris, I'm Victoria Tigliano. We'll see you next time.